is a very important issue for our community in terms of the African American community in general and the black church specifically. I also think that the activist or civil rights community also has to deal with this issue in a forthright manner. And I will give you briefly how I came to this personally and why I think it is important to all of us. I grew up in the aftermath of Dr. Martin Luther King. I joined the New York branch of SCLC the year he died. I was 12 years old. I became the youth director of Operation Breadbasket in New York under Reverend Jackson at 13. A few years later, because of some differences in the organization, Reverend Jackson left, and therefore I left. And I decided to form my own youth group in New York. And I went to a man who gave me the money to start National Youth Movement named Bayard Rustin. Yes. And Bayard Rustin gave me the funds that started National Youth Movement and kept me going in civil rights. As I got to know Mr. Rustin, I got to know the history of how this ingenious and brilliant organizer and tactician had been with Dr. King as a chief strategist and tactician going back to Montgomery. But because of his being a homosexual, the FBI and others tried to morally blackmail Dr. King into shunning Bayard Rustin. And because of some of the homophobia in the church, try and isolate him. And in many ways, rob him not only of his role in that contemporary setting, but rob him of his historic role even today. When I thought about the implications of that, I thought that it is in many ways against what we claim to believe in if we allow some latent or hidden bias of our own inhibit the maximizing of a liberation struggle. Because they could not have attempted this blackmail had they not depended, Keith Boykin, on the homophobia of those that were involved in the movement. If there had not been homophobia, it would not even have been an issue. Now, there are those that say, well, you must remember that some were churchmen and saw this as sin. But we adjust to all kinds of sin. We're very selective on what we adjust to. So even those that argue, and I'm not arguing that, but even those that argue that it's sin, how do you decide which sin is worthy of isolation and denial and which sin is worthy of you saying that doesn't matter? So we can embrace people that have done blatant wrong on everybody's side. But because we have questions that are enforced by social taboos, we can't embrace our own brothers and our own sisters. Second place that brought this to me, I remember my family that was gay. Grew up gay. And had to deal with the racism in the general society, sexism as a woman, and homophobia as being gay all at the same time. So imagine the social schizophrenia. Going to the workplace, having to deal with being a black. Going to the general market, dealing with being a woman. And coming at home and church and having to deal with homophobia when we all realistically know that it is at best a hypocritical example of our lack of sitting down having a real dialogue. I did not meet the gay community because I'm in New York and Greenwich Village. I met them in the church. I end by telling you Martin Luther King said there are two types of leaders. There are those that are thermometers that read the temperature in the room. And then there are those that are thermostats that change the temperature in the room. I come to tell you to be thermostats. Turn the heat up in the black church. Make these